Wine in the biblical tradition is a symbol of joy, a symbol of prosperity, a symbol of happiness. In the Jewish weddings, wine was a must. At the beginning of a new life, in the wedded life, every family, every wedding in the Jewish families, they were to have wine. Lack of wine, we find at the wedding at Cana, they have no wine. Lack of wine, therefore, a symbol of insult, a symbol of shame, a symbol of social disaster, a symbol of challenging moment. They have no wine. And Mary intervenes. She only situates the problem before his son, Jesus. And Jesus calls Mary woman. This gospel passage is from John chapter 2, and we are reminded of Genesis chapter 2, where we have the figure of Eve. Mary represents the human suffering. No wine, therefore, is a sign of incompleteness. There were 6 jars. Once again, in the biblical language, there are symbolic numbers. Symbolically, there are perfect numbers, as we know. The number 3, number 7, number 12, number 40, number 70, 1,000, 144,000, 300,000. These we find in the Bible, in the New Testament, and both Old and the New Testament, these numbers. Those are the perfect numbers. Here, John plays with the numbers and he gives only 6 jars. That is an incomplete number. Wine is missing, and even that is a sign of incompleteness, and there are 6 jars, again a sign of incompleteness. We are that 6 jars there. We find ourselves often broken. We find ourselves incomplete. We find ourselves inadequate. Our inadequacy, our brokenness, our weakness, our imperfections are not sins. Those are only human realities. Do not be ashamed to accept your brokenness. Do not be ashamed to accept your incompleteness. Do not be ashamed to accept your weaknesses. These are moments of growth. So there are 6 empty jars. Jesus asks the servers to fill the empty 6 jars up to the brim. When God gives, he gives superfluously. When God gives, he gives abundantly. But we often think of our negatives, aren't we? Our human nature is such that we concentrate more on the negative things, on the wounds, on our brokenness, on our incompleteness. That is very human. Why do we concentrate on the negatives? One psychiatrist says, we need 5 positives to fight against 1 negative. You look at the newspapers, TV channels, Always, they present negative things. Once I asked a journalist, why is there a lot of negative things? Then they were telling, well, Father, only when we speak the negative things, we can sell the papers. We can market our TV channel. They have studied human psychology, that we concentrate on the negatives. Mary's request to the servers was to do whatever he tells you. We have our own brokenness. We have our own incompleteness. And whenever we bring that incompleteness to the Lord, and whenever we do whatever he tells us, he brings our incompleteness into completion. He transforms our negativity into positivity. Of course, positive is a negative word in today's context, in the context of COVID-19. Still, we are invited to bring our brokenness, our emptiness to the Lord. When we take our incompleteness to the Lord, well, there is superfluous amount of things. Jesus at Cana transforms not only water into wine, Jesus transformed even the disciples. John ends the gospel passage by telling the disciples began to believe. When we bring our incompleteness to the Lord, when he makes us complete, and he transforms our lives, let us trust, rather than being only concentrating, only bogged down in our negativity, not being ashamed of our weaknesses and sins. Let us take that to the Lord, that he will transform us to be active believers.